Fox Sports.
We are the Fox. We are Southwest.
Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T UVerse TV. And under bright blue skies and a brilliant sun here in the Pacific Northwest, the Rangers look to cap off a winning road trip. They finish things up at Safeco Field in Seattle against the Seattle Mariners. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us for this Thursday afternoon of Ranger baseball. Rangers looking to have a 6-4 road trip with a win here this afternoon. And I think if you told them beforehand you were going to have a chance at a 6-4 road trip, they would certainly take it. Today, they're going to have their hands full, though. The King, Felix Hernandez, on the mound, but the Rangers have their own ace up their sleeve as Derek Holland takes the hill.
They do, Buzz, and Derek's been throwing the ball well. He came back last year under similar circumstances after an injury, had 5 or 6 starts, pitched great, doing the same thing right now. His stuff has been terrific. His fastball has been 92 to 95. He's getting his curveball and changeup over. He's pitching deeply into ball games. His last 2 starts, he has a shutout against the Orioles. Saturday against the Angels, he pitched exceptionally well as well. 8 innings, 1 run, a couple of walks, and 5 strikeouts. He'll need to be at the top of his game against the Mariners and King Felix, but he's pitched well against them in the past. He's pitched well in this ballpark as well.
Now, 2 pitchers in their prime going head-to-head here at Safeco Field this afternoon. It should be a dandy coming up for you, Rangers and Mariners, right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Ford dealers. Be unstoppable during SUV season with incredible savings. Only at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Beautiful afternoon here in the Pacific Northwest, the Emerald City of Seattle. And before we get things started on this gorgeous afternoon, let's head down to the field and check in with John Radigan.
Yeah, Buzz, newsy morning in the Rangers clubhouse as Jeff Bannister announced to us that Josh Hamilton has preceded the team to the Metroplex. He'll have surgery to clean up his sore meniscus tomorrow. They hope to get him back before the end of the regular season, and the rotation has been shifted. Cole Hamels will now start on Monday rather than Sunday. That will be against the Houston Astros, and it gives the possibility of Cole now starting twice in those head-to-head matchups against the Astros instead of 0 times.
We got a ways to go, and we got some games to play and need to win. So what we are doing is by getting Chi in there, it also allows our guys an extra day's rest, kind of freshen up, try to be as good as they possibly can be against a team that we're going head-to-head against. So we just felt like it is the benefits way outweighed anything else to give us the opportunity. So. And along the way, the residual to that is that if we need a one-game playoff, Cole would be available at the end. And if we have a series, it gives us an opportunity to line all of our guys up the way we want to.
And as Bannister said very succinctly later in the interview, that's what they got Cole Hamels for, was those one-game playoffs, those beginning of series, and those head-to-head matchups with teams they're going head-to-head with, like the Houston Astros. So they are ready to have that put into place. But first things first, that other race, Derek Holland on the mound against King Felix today in Seattle. Lineups in the first pitch next.
This afternoon, a matinee affair as the Rangers and the Seattle Mariners getting set to finish up this 4-game series. The Rangers come in at 73-65. They are 2 games back of the idle Houston Astros. Houston off today. They will resume play tomorrow evening with the Rangers 2 back, and the Rangers 1 game back in that loss column to Houston. So the Rangers can pick up a half game with a W here this afternoon. Rangers against the Mariners this year are 6-9 overall. They are 4-5 here at Safeco Field. This is the last game of the season in this environment. So the Mariners taking the field. Mariners, meanwhile, snapped a 2-game losing streak with their win last night. They come in at 67 and 73. They are in 4th place, 9 games behind the Astros. Well, the Rangers trying to get back on the winning side of things. Tom's going to tell you about the Southwest Airlines Rangers lineup.
Well, hopefully, Buzz, this will be a winning lineup. Will Venable will lead off in center field. Shin-Soo Choo bats second. He's the right fielder. Prince Fielder is third. Adrian Beltre is the cleanup hitter, followed by Mitch Moreland, the first baseman. Rougned Odor will bat 6th this afternoon. Elvis Andrus is 7th. Joey Gallo gets the start in left field. And batting 9th is the catcher, Bobby Wilson.
And that lineup will face the 29-year-old right-hander, Felix Hernandez. Hernandez making his 331st start in a Mariner uniform. That's the most in franchise history. He has exceptional stuff when he is on. He can beat anyone, and you just hope that you can get to him when he doesn't have those 4 pitches working. But they are anything but basic pitches. Rangers need to get a chance early and take advantage, because if you leave Felix Hernandez in the ball game and let him have a chance to settle in, he is as tough as anybody in the game. And he is facing the Rangers for the 46th time in his career. That's the most starts of any team against Felix Hernandez. We'll take a look at the Mariner defense this afternoon behind the King. And the outfield with Trumbo, O'Malley, and Smith left, center, and right. Mariners 12 errors in their last 13 ball games. They're right in the middle of the pack, but they have been struggling lately. In the infield with Montero at first today, Cano and Marte, along with Seager, round out the infield. Jesus Sucre is catching for Felix Hernandez. Hernandez is 16-8 with a 3.65 ERA. Well, Will Venable stepping in to start things off, and the first pitch is a fastball for strike 1. Venable, 235 with the Rangers. No home runs, a couple driven in. A lot of at-bats against Felix Hernandez for Venable. Just a 182 overall average. Rangers have had more wins against Felix Hernandez than any other team has been able to pin on him. Rangers 21 losses on Felix Hernandez. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Poked out to short, and Marte. 1 gone. So Venable grounds out. Now Shin-Soo Choo. Well, the Rangers, after being 1 hit last night for the 4th time this year, as a matter of fact, that's the most in baseball, come in with a 253 average. The team mark is 8th in the American League, dropped down a couple of points. On base percentage dropped down to a 319 average. That is 7th in the league. Also 7th in runs scored with 603. They have had a difficult time on this road trip, hitting just over 200 for the first 9 games. 1 ball and no strikes. However, Shin-Soo Choo not one of the guys struggling. He is a 323 hitter on this trip. And he takes high and away. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Choo 10 for 31. He's reached base safely in his last 8 ball games and 29 of his last 30. And he chops one out to Cano at second. But even when you have a hitter's count 2-0, you don't always get a very hittable pitch from Felix Hernandez.
Yeah, his fastball has such movement on it. You can look for it, and as you said, Buzz, still have a hard problem hitting it. Taijuan Walker the other night against the Rangers, his fastball was straight as a string, and the Rangers teed off on him. They hit a few home runs against him, got some pitches up. But Felix's fastball, even though the velocity is probably about the same as Walker's, just has a lot more movement on it, which presents a major problem for the hitters.
Well, here's Prince Fielder hitting at 309. He takes a belt high strike, 0-1.
If that's a strike, King Felix is in for a pretty good day.
Yeah, I agree with him. See Prince reaching base safely either by a hit or a walk in his last 14 ball games. And that breaking ball is in. It is 0-2. Bruce Dreckman, by the way, calling the balls and strikes this afternoon. Felix Hernandez on the hill for the Mariners. And the big right-hander back with the 0-2 pitch. You got an idea, Hernandez using that curveball in the early going here. He'll also mix in a slider, which is just a harder version of the curveball that doesn't break quite as sharply. Downward anyway. It breaks very quickly across. The 1-2 to Fielder. That will even things up now. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Prince's average still 7th in the American League, although it's as low as it has been since the 3rd game of the season. 3-2. Fielder able to check his swing. Prince trying to get aboard here in the 1st inning. He'll be followed by the Ranger 3rd baseman Adrian Beltre. Hernandez looking in for the sign. Jesus Sucre. Payoff pitch. Lost him. Tried to come back with a curveball and left it high and outside. And Prince Fielder with a 2-out walk is aboard. And now Felix Hernandez, good buddy, off the field. Adrian Beltre steps in.
Well, the Mariners did something with Felix before his last start that they haven't done very often in his career, and that's skip a start. They deemed that by skipping a start it would be best for his strength, his health over the last 6 weeks of the season. So he had 11 days between starts. Both of the starts were against the A's. Both of them were very good, both 8-inning starts.
Yeah, Hernandez has kind of run into a wall early in August. Gave up 10 runs, most he'd given up in a ball game to Boston in just 2 1/3 innings at Fenway. Pitch inside to Beltre, 1 ball, 1 strike.
I looked at his log, Buzz. I like to do that with pitchers. I don't care who the starting pitcher is. You can find 2 or 3 clunkers in someone's resume, and he's had the one you talked about. He also had one at Houston. He only pitched 1/3 of an inning and gave up 8 runs in that game. Oh man, he just missed.
Yes, he did. Solid contact.
He let Felix know as he ran by him too.
And Felix giving it back to him a little bit too. No, that towering fly ball the last out of the inning. Rangers strand a runner. No score after a half inning. Will face today.
They'll start off by facing Ketel Marte, the shortstop. Kyle Seager is batting second. He's on a 12-game hitting streak right now. Nelson Cruz is third. Robinson Cano is fourth. Mark Trumbo will bat fifth. He's on an 11-game hitting streak. Seth Smith, the right fielder, is sixth. Jesus Montero, the first baseman, is seventh. Jesus Sucre will start behind the plate. And batting ninth is the center fielder, Sean O'Malley. He's reached safely in 14 of his 22 plate appearances since being called up by the Mariners.
And our progressive scouting report on Derek Holland throwing the ball as well as he ever has. And that command has really been the big difference. The chopper is foul outside third off the bat of Ketel Marte. Getting back to that progressive scouting report. 3-1. This is Derek's 6th start. His 5th since coming back off the disabled list. He has won his last 3 straight decisions. Last time out, a 2-1 win over the Angels last Saturday down in Anaheim. 8 innings, 3 hits only. A run in that ballgame. Marte now down in the count, a ball and 2 strikes.
Breaking ball by Derek, which he's had in almost all of his starts.
Tried that breaking ball again, and Marte was not offering. 2-2. Marte, a .261 average with 8 RBI. Holland back to the plate. And misses low. It's 3-2. So Marte, the leadoff man, trying to get aboard to start things off. Kyle Seager, the hot-hitting third baseman, waiting to be next. Holland with a payoff pitch. Elvis on to first, out number 1. Yeah, you saw Elvis. We'll take a look at the rest of the Ranger defense, brought to you by Chicken Express. Outfield this afternoon, Will Venable again in center field, flanked by Gallo and Chu. Rangers just 2 errors in their last 13 games. That is in stark contrast to what the Mariners have been doing. That's the second fewest for the Rangers in Major League Baseball. Bobby Wilson behind the plate. Moreland, Odor, Andrews, and Beltre around the infield. And Derek Holland on the hill here this afternoon. Holland with that .237 ERA in the 3-1 record. Here's Seager. A 4-for-4 game last night with his 23rd home run of the year. .276 average against Derek Holland, though not as much success. Seager, as we've told you, gets much better against left-handed pitching than he does against right-handed. Adrian Beltre playing side saddle and makes a basket catch. Seager is retired for out number 2. Adrian talking to Derek Holland. Holland probably said, "Don't scare me like that."
The sun is definitely bright. Adrian catches it a number of different ways. That time he chose the basket style.
Yeah, you can tell by the shadows that the sun right over the first base stands, and it's up high enough to where pop-ups like that are going to be a problem for a little while anyway. Here is Nelly Cruz back in the lineup after missing 6 games with that strained right quad. Cruz second in baseball, 39 home runs, 82 RBI, hitting at .310. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cruz 1 out of 3 against Holland in previous matchups. One ball and 2 strikes. Against the Rangers, Nelson Cruz has made his former team pay. A .347 average, 7 home runs, and 15 driven in. Holland to the wind, the 1-2 pitch. This year, Cruz has also been tough again against left-handers. He has hit .354 as a member of the Mariners against left-handed pitching. Up the middle, over second, into center field. Well, Cruz having the best year of his career overall as a hitter. And came in hitting a .310. That'll go up a point or so on that base hit.
Pretty nice job of hitting. Hit that breaking ball down and in. Inside out at it, right past Derek up the middle for a base hit.
Well, the first base hit for either club this afternoon. Nelson Cruz, a 2-out single, and Robinson Cano now will step in. Cano Going the other way toward the left field corner. That is down and going to the wall. Cruz taking it easy going into third. He will stop there, and Cano with a double going the other way. Mariners second and third with 2 out. Cano another double.
Last night against Martin Perez, Cano took a couple of swings on the first pitch, slow curveballs that he was way out in front of. And you could tell what he's doing the first pitch. He's looking for a fastball. He got a fastball that time and drilled it down the left field line. Yesterday, looking for a fastball a couple of times, Martin threw him slow curveballs, and he waved at him, was way out in front of him.
So back-to-back 2-out hits here in the first, and Mark Trumbo now will step in. Runners at second and third. Trumbo takes inside for ball 1. Trumbo with his 12th Seattle home run last night. He has 21 total for the season. 12 here in Seattle and 9 before coming over from the Diamondbacks. Average at 262. Shoots one fair down the first baseline, and that is going to score a couple. The ball wedges underneath the padding, but Trumbo stops at second. Cano and Cruz in to score, the Mariners, and now the ball gets away, and that's going to allow Trumbo to go into third. A 2-run double, an error, allowing Trumbo to get the extra 90 feet.
Trumbo hits a lot of different pitches in a lot of different places. He doesn't walk, and he can get the bat on the ball, and that's what he did right there. Not a bad pitch, down, low, away. Just snuck it in right down the first baseline. Here comes the throw in. Throw gets by everybody and allows Trumbo to go to third.
Well, 2-0 here in the first as the Mariners jump out to an early lead, and Seth Smith takes strike 1. And the error is going to be charged to Shin-Soo Choo, even though the throw was not that bad. Still, it always goes to the guy who makes the throw unless somebody else is able to catch the ball and then drop it. Smith, a 252 average. Marlins 1-1. Now 1-2, I believe. Do you reckon call that a strike?
Yeah. By the look on Smith's face, he did anyway.
Yeah. 1-2. Little tapper right on top of home plate. It's a fair ball. And Bobby Wilson just picks it up and tags Smith, who was obligingly standing there. That'll do it. But the Mariners with 2-out damage, 3 hits. They score twice and strand one after one. 2-0 Seattle. Southwest Data Strong fan, and you just might see yourself on one of our upcoming broadcasts. All this brought to you by the good folks at T-Mobile. We will show you today's selection a little bit later on in the ballgame. Well, Rangers have some work to do. Mitch Moreland starting off against Felix Hernandez. And here's how the inning ended in the bottom of the first inning. You don't see a ball chopped right on top of home plate very often, just sat there. Home plate, of course, in fair territory, the whole plate. Hard hit ball, a bad hop, and it goes right by Montero's head. Mitch Moreland into second base for the leadoff double. Boy, Montero lucky that that ball was off to the side, because that was exactly head high as that hop came up, went right by his left ear.
A hard hit ball by Mitch. Rangers trying to get those 2 runs back that they snuck in against Derek Holland.
Well, the first Ranger hit, Montero might have seen part of his life flash before his eyes. 1 on, nobody out. Rougned Odor. That will at least try to get Mitch over to third base. Odor a 272 average, and he takes strike 1. Rougned just 1 for 11 in his career against Felix Hernandez. For Mitch Moreland, by the way, that was his 8th hit in 39 at-bats. Out of play down the left side, back toward the King's Court down there. 0-2. Rougned, 8 of his last 10 hits have gone for extra bases. He has a dozen home runs. 11 of those have come since he came back in the middle of June from AAA Round Rock. Swinging. Nasty breaking ball, and the out will be recorded at first. Well, Felix Hernandez gets a big strikeout. 1 gone, Elvis Andrus coming out.
The one thing that's pretty apparent through six batters is that Felix is featuring his curveball, and it's working pretty well for him. When he wants to get a swing and a miss, he can bury it down like that. He's thrown a number of them that have dropped on the outside corner to the left-hand hitters. He got a number of ways he can get you out. So far, it looks like his curveball is his main weapon.
Elvis takes just off the outer edge for ball 1. Andrus, one of the better averages against Felix Hernandez for Ranger hitters. 301 in his career. 83 at-bats, and Elvis with 25 hits. Got Moreland at second base with 1 out. Like that power changeup. 88-mile-an-hour change. If you want to call that a changeup, that's exactly what it is. Change of speeds, I guess is a better way to put it. Elvis at 258. He is in a little bit of a drought as far as hits are concerned. 0 for his last 4 ball games, and finds himself down in the count now and a ball and 2 strikes. Well, our Ford leaderboard for you. How about since August 19th, the strikeout to walk ratio, Felix Hernandez, 10 strikeouts for every walk he has issued. Only Wade Miley and Josh Tomlin in that time span have a higher one. That August 19th date was the day that Derek Holland came back. Mitch Moreland, a leadoff double. 1 out later, is still standing at second base.
In Hernandez's last 2 starts, he's had 1 walk and 16 strikeouts. Had a walk already today.
The 2-2 pitch. Hard hit, but right at Marte, the shortstop. 2 gone. Well, again, Elvis getting good wood on the ball, but hit it right at his counterpart. Now with 2 away, here comes Joey Gallo.
Yeah, in the Ranger lineup, there aren't many guys who are on any kind of a good streak. Chu has been hot and walking a lot, getting on base. Mitch is now 6 for 15, but other than that, the other 7 guys in the lineup, the best streak that anyone's on is Odor, who's 3 for 19. So as a team, The Rangers have struggled, and that's why when you look at the record on the road trip, 5-4, it's actually pretty good when you look at the way the Rangers have swung the bats. The one game that was an exception was the game the other night when they hit 4 home runs. For the most part, it's been an offensive struggle the last 10 days.
Yeah, the club as a whole is hitting .208 in the first 9 games of this trip. And even with that 9-run output 2 nights ago, they've only scored 28 runs. Gallo now down to the count, no balls and 2 strikes to Hernandez. Joey, a .212 hitter. It is 6th home run 2 nights ago. Trying to pick up Mitch Moreland out at second. Felix Hernandez back to the plate. Our AT&T U-verse Rewind will take you back to Tuesday night. And Joey Gallo of Tony Zick. First home run since back in June at the big league level. Now facing Felix Hernandez, Jesus Sucre out to talk things over with the King. Gallo, of course, optioned back to AAA the 1st of July and proceeded to hit .195 in Round Rock. He had 14 home runs. 0 outside, 2-2. Infield shading Gallo slightly around to the right. The outfield in a similar fashion. Moreland away from second. The breaking ball is low and outside. So Gallo down in the count 0-2 to begin with and has come back now to run the count full. Joey trying to extend this second inning. Bobby Wilson, the Ranger catcher today, is in the on-deck circle. Mitch Moreland, after a leadoff double, still hanging out at second. Now Hernandez ready. Payoff pitch to Gallo. In the dirt all the way to the backstop. On to third goes Moreland. Gallo at first. Rangers now with 2 outs have runners at the corners for Bobby Wilson. A walk, wild pitch sequence. Gets Rangers at first and third. Second walk of the day for Felix Hernandez.
Hernandez going to the breaking ball on the 3-2 pitch. Guess he figured he had first base open.
Bobby Wilson 2 out of 10 in his career against Felix Hernandez. Got Moreland at third, Gallo at first. I think he was betting on fastball first pitch, didn't get it.
He's thrown a lot of curveballs in 2 innings. It's sometimes as many curveballs as you might see in a game.
.33 pitches for Felix Hernandez. 34th is grounded to short. Marte goes to Cano for the out, and that'll do it. Rangers get a hit and a walk, but Strand 2. After 1.5, it's the Mariners 2, the Rangers nothing. Be unstoppable during SUV season with incredible savings only at your Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Well, Derek Holland back to the hill to start the bottom of the second inning. It's the bottom third of the Mariner order to face him, and Jesus Montero, the first baseman, takes strike one. Montero, Sucre, and O'Malley, the first three Mariners to face Derek Holland. Holland gave up a couple of runs on 3 hits, and Montero, a sharply hit ball. Beltre recovers, throws, and gets it.
Well, that's just putting your body in front of the ball, hope you can catch it, but if you don't, knock it down and make the play. Hard hit ball by Montero. How he hit that ball that hard. Ball looked like it was about a foot inside.
Adrian keeping it close enough to him where he can still grab it and make the throw. Fortunately, Montero doesn't run all that well. So 1 out. Here is Jesus Sucre, the catcher. 1 ball, no strikes. Sucre had a 2-hit night here on Tuesday night. Got his average up over the 100 level. It's at 118. He is now 10 for 85 this year. Derek Holland, kind of a replay of his last outing against the Angels when he gave up the only run of the ball game that he was going to give up in the first inning. Mike Trout had a triple high off the right center field wall and came in to score in the first inning. Then Derek settled down, gave up only 2 hits the next 7 innings. It's a strike here to make it 3-1 to Sucre. Outside, ball 4. One on, one out. Sean O'Malley coming up. And folks, a reminder that Monday through Thursday of this coming week, Rangers face the Astros in a crucial AL West showdown. We need all of you to wear red out to the ballpark. We're going to red out Globe Live Park. All red player t-shirts are 20% off now through the 17th at all Ranger retail locations. So go out and get yours today and wear them to the ballpark. Here's Sean O'Malley, the switch-hitting outfielder, up there from the right side. O'Malley has had a great first impression with the Mariners. He has gone 7 for 14 since being called up on the 1st of September. It's a 500 average. And right now, Bobby Wilson out to see if he can settle down his big left-hander out there, Derek Holland.
Yeah, you know Derek's command is not exactly where he normally is or where he'd like it to be when he walks Sucre. He's trying to throw that last pitch right down the middle of the plate and not walk in.
1-0 pitch. To second, they get 1. That's all they will get, as O'Malley runs pretty well. And get the sliding Sucre at second. So 2 outs with O'Malley at first base now and back to the top of the order. Ketel Marte grounded out to short as he began things for the Mariners this afternoon. Holland a check of O'Malley at first. He will send a little calling card O'Malley's way. Now Derek, a letter high set. And fires strike 1. Marte, just a 21-year-old, 0 for his last 12 times to the plate. And he has not been able to solve Derek Holland. He is 0 for 4 in the matchups. Holland worked against the Mariners back on the 19th of August. That was his first outing after coming off the disabled list. Worked 6 1/3 innings, gave up 8 hits and 2 runs to Seattle. That ball game at Globe Live Park in Arlington. On ready again. To center field, Venable. Makes the catch, that'll do it. No runs, no hits. The Walker left stranded after 2 innings of play. It's the Mariners 2, the Rangers nothing on Fox Sports Southwest.
I've found an interesting vantage point in straightaway center field. I had to get extremely high because it seems like in previous broadcasts from here before, I've seen that there was some train tracks back here, and okay, they're still there. So I guess there must be, there it is, the train still goes by. Matter of fact, I just saw a train go by with a bunch of planes being exported out of here. It's the biggest export from Seattle, planes. But also up here, I was just trying to remember, didn't there used to be a Kingdome around here? Whatever happened to the Kingdome? Oh, that's right. They imploded the Kingdome. And so I've seen it all from up here, guys.
Thank you, John. Well, Will Venable, meanwhile, trying to beat out a bunt. And a nice play by Felix Hernandez. And you get a fresh look at that. That used to be Kingdome. It's over where CenturyLink Field sits right now.
There's no way we're going to make a trip to Seattle for 4 games and not watch that.
No, you got to see that.
That's part of the broadcast.
That is tradition. Looking out over the left field seats out there, John Radigan right at the top under that Safeco Field sign, and he had a view of everything out there, the train tracks, and CenturyLink Field where it used to be a Kingdome. Thanks, John, for that trip down memory lane. We appreciate that. A 1 out, Shin-Soo Choo now, who grounded to second base, takes strike 1. Felix Hernandez given a little extra breather after that run that he had to pick up the bunt laid down by Will Venable. He apparently recovered quickly. No balls, 2 strikes to Choo. Check swing, did he go? Yes, he did. And Felix Hernandez, who worked with a lot of breaking balls the first time through the order, going back to the fastball, and he gets Choo on the check swing. So second strikeout for Hernandez, 2 up, 2 away. And Prince Fielder is next.
Buzz, we don't do birthdays anymore, but I'm going to make an exception today for our friend Curtis Wilkerson, former Ranger shortstop. Curtis asked us to wish happy birthday to Marlene Holder. She's 95 years old and a huge Ranger fan. So Marlene, happy birthday. And you can thank your friend Curtis Wilkerson for the birthday wishes.
Center field, O'Malley in and over to his right makes the catch, and Rangers for the first time this afternoon sent down in order by Felix Hernandez and the Mariners. After 2.5, the Mariners 2, the Rangers nothing. Head out the ballpark against the division rival Houston Astros. You get 2 upper box or upper reserve seats for just $14 using the online coupon code Lone Star. Get to TexasRangers.com before all those good seats are gone. Red out the ballpark Monday through Thursday. Kyle Seager leading off the bottom of the third for the Seattle Mariners. Seager, Cruz, and Cano to face Derek Holland. The Mariners put together 3 consecutive 2-out hits in the first for both their runs. Seager had a pop out to Adrian Beltre his first time up there. 1 ball and 1 strike. Seager, as we mentioned, one of the 2 streaking Seattle Mariners. Pulls that one foul outside first. Seager with a 12-game hitting streak. Mark Trumbo, who had the run-scoring double, the 2-run double, has extended his streak to 12 consecutive games. Holland studying the signs. Now to the wind he goes. The 1-2 pitch.
Counting his at bat in the first inning, Seager's gone 24 for his last 48. 500 average, which I guess coincides with that streak that he's on.
Yep. Got him swinging.
That's a pretty good at bat right there for Derek when you make Seager look like that, especially when he's hot.
Well, first strikeout for Derek Holland. Nelson Cruz coming up. We're going to send it back to Aaron Hardigan first for a Mazda game break. All right, Aaron, thank you. Well, Rangers trying to pick up a half game on the idle Astros. Nelly Cruz had a base hit to center in the first inning. Came around to score the first Seattle run. Takes strike 1 here. So Cruz now hitting at .312 as he faces Derek. Right center field. That is playable for Shin-Soo Choo, backpedaling a step or 2.
That ball almost went a long way.
Yeah, it sure did. Out number 2.
about 365 feet sky high to right center field. Nelly hasn't played in 5 or 6 days, but looks like he hasn't lost any of his timing. Base hit the first time up. Good swing at that pitch. He just got a little bit underneath it.
Well, Holland talking to Adrian Beltre a little bit.
We're talking about Nelly, how much better of a hitter he is right now. He was always an excellent power hitter, and he'd be streaky, but there were times where you could get him to chase pitches well out of the strike zone and make him look bad in at bats. And everybody has those kind of at bats from time to time, but he just has many fewer of them now than he used to. You don't see him wailing away at the slider, way down and away out of the strike zone, high fastball. A little more focused, disciplined on his strike zone. And he's using the whole field even better than he ever has.
Well, the Mariners keep a note on Nelson Cruz that he has not been under 300 since the 17th of April. And for him,
it's pretty consistent.
To stay over that 300 mark, between 300 and 330 was about as high as he got. I mean, that's a range that we didn't see Nelly at except when he was swinging the bat really well. And he'd go 3 or 4 weeks and hit in that area, but he was typically a 260, 270 hitter the rest of the time. One ball and 2 strikes to Robinson Cano, who had an opposite field double on the first pitch that he saw from Holland this afternoon. And Derek trying to entice him with that breaking ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cano, as we mentioned throughout this series, marked difference when he moved to the cleanup spot. He's gone here as Holland works over both Seager and Cano to get strikeouts. A 3 up, 3 down inning. So the Mariners gone, and after 3, the Mariners 2, the Rangers nothing. Park. Plus, passes are available to watch the concert from the best seat in the house. That's right down on the field. Get to TexasRangers.com/concerts to get your tickets to see the Rangers take on the Mariners that night and a field pass for Pat Green postgame show. Adrian Beltre leading off the Ranger 4th inning. Felix Hernandez pumps in strike 1. Beltre hit a towering fly ball to left his first time. Just got under it. He made great contact, and on his way down to first as that ball sailed out to Trumbo in left field. Adrian reminded Felix Hernandez that he has hit very well against him in the past. And Felix reminded Adrian that he'd struck him out several times in the past. That might be the first interaction we've seen with those guys on the field in this year.
Yeah.
They kind of toned it down a little bit.
Yeah, they have. They came into fairly close proximity of each other. Felix knew it was an out, so he was starting to walk toward the dugout. Adrian was running the ball out, so they kind of crossed paths almost halfway to first base.
That pitch just nibbles on the outside corner. 2-2. That was the slider that time from Felix Hernandez, as opposed to the slower curveball. Two-two pitch. Right center field. That's hit well. Going back is Smith at the track and makes the catch. And Beltre again will have a few words, and Felix Hernandez saying going back to the dugout. And Beltre said, I don't need directions. I can know where I'm going.
Well, he's had 2 good at bats. Nothing to show for it. A high, like hanging slider. Hernandez right now knows he got him out, but when he swung at that ball for a little while, he thought that ball might have been out of there. Tell him to go back to the dugout. Adrian just missed a couple of home runs against him today.
He has. He's 0 for 2, and here's Mitch Moreland, who has the only Ranger hit against Felix Hernandez. That was a double under the padding in right field. Mitch now at 289. Hernandez with that sinking fastball. 1-1.
We were talking earlier, Buzz, about no matter who the pitcher is, he's going to have some clunkers. He had the game at Houston back in June, a third of an inning, 8 runs and 2 home runs. He had a game here against Arizona, pitched into the 7th inning, but he gave up 12 hits and 7 runs and 2 home runs. Then he had the one you were talking about at Boston, 12 hits and 10 runs and 3 home runs. So in those 3 starts, he gave up 7 home runs. He gave up 29 hits and 25 runs in 9 and the 3rd innings in those 3 starts and 7 home runs. And to have the record he has, obviously in the other games he was pretty good.
Yeah,
like 16-5 with a 2.4 ERA. And that's basically his largest part of it. Well, I tell you what, he's getting a lot of strikes tonight.
Yeah, he is, and that's his 3rd strikeout, 2nd of the called variety. And our Kubota Power Stats, looking at Felix against the Rangers this year, a perfect 3-0 with an ERA of just 2.18. 4 walks, 21 strikeouts. The Rangers have hit 178 against him.
Well, he's getting every borderline pitch in this game, plus some that aren't borderline that are out of the strike zone. So when you've got good stuff and you're on a roll and you're getting that kind of a strike zone called for you, it can be a little bit tough for the opponent.
Rougned Odor up there with the base is empty, and 0-1 after that foul ball. Odor struck out the first time that he faced Felix Hernandez. In fact, Rougned was up there after the leadoff Mitch Moreland double in the 2nd. And King Felix worked him over pretty good. He got an important strikeout as Rougned was not able to advance Moreland.
He's giving him a pretty severe dose of curveballs.
The 0-2 on the way. Got him swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts for on the afternoon, and the Rangers gone in order. Hernandez now has retired the last 7 that he has faced. 2-0 Seattle. To you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Mazda. In every car we make, you'll see why driving matters. Safeco Field in Seattle. The Mariners leading 2-0 as they come to bat here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Mark Trumbo, who had the two-run double in the first, takes high and inside for ball one. Trumbo now with a 12-game hitting streak. That is a career high for him. It extends his career high that he set yesterday. Holland getting inside on Trumbo. Gets the foul ball strike. It's 1-1. Trumbo now at 36 RBI. In a Mariner uniform for the year. He has driven in 59 runs. Holland back to the plate. Fly ball to center. Venable. Ambling over to his left. Makes the grab for out number one. Going to bring up Seth Smith. Derek Holland now has retired 6 in a row.
Yeah, they bunched everything together. Looked like a harmless first inning when Seager popped up for the second out. Cruz had got a 3-2 ground ball up the middle. Cano had the double, and Trumbo hit a ground ball off toward the end of the bat, just right inside the first base bag. All three hits bunched together with 2 outs.
Other than that, the Mariners have had just one base runner in the last 2 1/3 innings. Seth Smith hit a little topper right down on top of home plate. It stayed on top of home plate, and Bobby Wilson pounced on it and tagged out Smith. The outside corner, there's the generous strike zone, I should say, from Bruce Dreckman. Holland with the 0-1. 0-2. Derek working a little more quickly, as is his custom. Gets into the rhythm and starts getting the ball and wanting to throw it very quickly. Smith, a little looping drive into center for the base hit. Well, Holland didn't quite get that pitch far enough away, and Smith able to get the bat on it for the 1-out single. Well, folks, Fox Sports Southwest coverage of Big 12 football continues on Saturday. We start at 2 p.m. with UTEP and Texas Tech, and then it's Lamar taking on Baylor at 6:30 p.m. and Central Arkansas against Oklahoma State at 6:30 p.m. on Fox Sports Southwest Plus. Don't miss a full day of action on Saturday right here. Well, the fourth hit by the Mariners against Eric Holland, and now Montero has the 5th hit as he pounds one into the gap in right center. On around to third goes Smith, and the Mariners here in the 4th have runners at the corners and 1 out for Jesus Sucre. Montero, very much a first ball fastball hitter, and Derek Holland didn't get that fastball in a very good location.
No, you're exactly right, Buzz. He's going to swing at a fastball if he sees one the first pitch. You can get him out with breaking balls. You can get him out with fastballs, too. It doesn't mean he's going to hit every one. He just likes to swing at it, and that time he hit it pretty well.
Well, 5 hits in the ball game now. First and third for Jesus Sucre, who drew a walk his first time to the plate. Bobby Wilson flashing out the defensive assignments. What the Rangers are going to do if the Mariners try to steal a run in this situation. Holland pumps in strike one. Derek a check at first. Sucre, a double play ground ball to Odor. Andrews, they turn it over 4-6-3, and that will take care of the Mariners. 2 hits in the inning, 1 man left after the twin killing. On to the 5th we go, 2-0 Seattle.
Safeco, and I haven't shown you any restaurants on this leg of the journey yet, and I feel a little bit bad about that. So many great ones here. Most of them are seafood restaurants. We went to Elliott's to celebrate the birthday of Rangers beat writer of the Morning News, Evan Grant, and that's Evan's hand in the picture there at Elliott's, getting ready to crack the Dungeness crab that he had for lunch to help celebrate his milestone birthday. That's actually been voted the best fish sandwich in America right there. It's a smoked salmon Reuben that I had, and it was absolutely delicious with some homemade coleslaw. And there's the view. There's the setting at Elliott's. They could give me a toenail Reuben, and I think I'd like it there. Look at that. That's where we ate, guys. Not a bad place to help Evan celebrate his birthday.
All right, John. Yeah, there are some great restaurants up here in Seattle.
I might eat a toenail Reuben, but I bet he wouldn't eat those fingers of Evan Grant in a Reuben.
Elvis Andrus. Rangers starting off here in the 5th inning, trailing Seattle by a 2-0 count. Elvis a ground ball to short, his first time. Felix Hernandez wide with the next pitch. It's 2-0. Elvis now at 257 for the season. 3-0. Felix Hernandez starting off the 5th inning by missing with 3 consecutive pitches. Elvis trying to get aboard to start things. Joey Gallo is in the on-deck circle. And a strike. 3-1. Bruce Reckman catching it from several angles. Elvis and Ranger bench. Outside and low, ball 4. Bill Elvis aboard to start off the Ranger 5th inning. That's the 3rd walk issued by Felix Hernandez this afternoon. Another unusual we talked about is lack of walks. Only 4 in his last several starts, and he has 3 here this afternoon. Joey Gallo drew one of those walks. That was with 2 outs in the 2nd. Nothing in 1 on the foul ball. Gallo checking with Tony Beasley down there at 3rd. Mentioned that home run that Gallo hit here on Tuesday night. First home run since he has come back to the big leagues. That was his first home run since June 17th. One and one. Hernandez, a look over his shoulder at Elvis at first. 1-2 now.
A couple of good fastballs, a couple of good rips at it. Came up just a little bit underneath it.
Gallo, and remember, got down on the count 0-2 his first time up, was able to work the walk. He's behind Hernandez here, 1 ball and 2 strikes. There goes Elvis. The pitch is swung on and missed. The throw to second is not in time. Oh, he's out.
Has to come off the base.
Yeah. Second base umpire Tom Hallion took a long look at it and signaled out as Elvis slid past the bag. It looked like he was still in contact with it, but Jeff Bannister saying, hang on a second here. We're going to potentially look at this thing. And it's going to be tough, I would think, to find an angle that would give you clear and convincing evidence to overturn, but Rangers are going to try it anyway. So the ruling on the field is out. Strike him out, throw him out, double play. But Tom Hallion, the crew chief, along with the first base umpire, Alfonso Marquez, with the headsets on, they will get in contact now with the replay command center back in New York. Replay official back there will take a look at all the various angles. And I'll tell you what, you have to give Ketel Marte props for keeping that tag on Elvis as he slid by the bag. Now, did his
not
leg.
on him. It's not on him right now. I don't think Elvis ever lost contact with the bag.
No, I think you're right. Looking at that angle,
his right hand came off, but his left hand slid across the bag and never came off it.
And that's what Elvis is trying to tell Robinson Cano and Ketel Marte.
I think if they looked at that last one very slowly, it's hard to see where his hand ever came off the bag.
No, that's the job of the replay official back there in New York, the replay command center. We'll find out what his determination is. And this is a little bit tighter shot, a little more blown up than the other ones.
Never lost contact with the bag. And right now, if he did, his glove is not on him. No way he wasn't safe on that.
Now again, the call on the field is out, so it has to be clear and convincing evidence to overturn that call. And we'll see what they come up with from New York. And both Tom Hallion, the crew chief, and Alfonso Marquez with the headsets on. And the call is out. So the call, I would imagine, stands. Elvis
must have had a different view than we had. I don't think there's any way he was out on that play.
Call is confirmed, according to the folks in New York. So, strike him out, throw him out, double play. And Elvis caught stealing after the strikeout. No, base is empty, 2 away, and Bobby Wilson takes outside for ball 1. Wilson grounded into a fielder's choice his first time up there. That ended the Rangers' second.
I'd love to go over that with the replay officials and see how they confirm that call.
Breaking ball hangs high. 2 balls and a strike. Wilson overall hitting at 188 now after his 0 for 1. 230 in a Ranger uniform this year for Bobby. This line softly into left field, a base hit. No, Bobby Wilson with the second hit of the afternoon against Felix Hernandez, a 2-out single. He is aboard, and Will Venable coming up. Venable tried to bunt his way aboard last time, was thrown out by Felix Hernandez. 0 for 2 this afternoon. It's a breaking ball for strike 1. Will has reached base safely in 14 of the 16 games that he's appeared in as a Ranger. Remember, he reached base safely in the first 13, which second best all time, or third best, I should say, all time, for starting a Ranger career. Hernandez back to the plate. The chopper foul outside first. 1-2 the count. For Will Venable, you go back to his time with San Diego. His last 31 ball games with both the Padres and the Rangers, he's hit 276. One-two pitch. Looped out of play. Bright, sunshiny afternoon here in Seattle. Very light breeze drifting from the left field corner out toward right. Comfortable temperatures in the low 70s. Got him swinging. And that is a couple of strikeouts. The inning now has 6. Rangers get a hit, but strand a runner. Halfway through the ball game, it remains the Mariners 2, the Rangers nothing. Park this season. The next opportunity is tomorrow. That's following the Ranger game against the Oakland A's. Fans using the online coupon code FIREWORKS at TexasRangers.com/specials can get seats for $14. Seats are going fast, so don't wait. Get yours this afternoon. Sean O'Malley, the number 9 hitter, starting things off for the Mariners here in the 5th inning. Seattle on top 2-0. And O'Malley skies one to right field. Shin-Soo Choo making the grab. That is out number 1. We'll take a look at that play again. The challenge issued on a play at second base. Elvis caught stealing.
Watch both
confirmed.
hands. The left hand's on the bag. Right hand's not. Left hand scrapes the bag, doesn't come off. If it comes off right there, which I don't think it did, the glove's not touching him anyway.
Well, it did come off right there, but you're right.
He wasn't touching him.
No, he wasn't touching him at that time.
I don't know what they saw.
Not sure. But they apparently saw enough to confirm it. And
yeah, it's one thing. That's the angle they used too, right there. It's one thing to let it stand, but to confirm it, boy, I don't know. Guess that's why we're not umpires. That's been proven over time.
Ketel Marte takes low and inside. It's 2 balls and a strike. Marte is grounded to short and flying to center this afternoon. 0 for 2. Currently hitting at 257. Now 3-1. Holland in a little trouble getting Marte. Derek has walked just 1 this afternoon. He has 2 strikeouts to his credit. And misses there. Ball 4. So Marte with very good speed now aboard. Kyle Seager coming up. And before Seager steps in, let's send it back to Aaron Hardigan with the Mazda game break. Thank you, Aaron. Here, Rangers trying to fight back from a 2-0 deficit this afternoon. First pitch to Seager is outside. Kyle Seager has popped out and struck out against Holland this afternoon.
There's good young players coming into baseball over the last couple of years. We'll see a lot of Correa with the Astros, not as much of Sano. We only play them a couple of times a year with Minnesota, but those guys are going to be hitting a lot of home runs over the next 10 years.
Out of play down the left side for Seager. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Our lows never stop improving as featured. Talking about Kyle Seager. Current 12-game hitting streak. He has hit .511 coming into play this afternoon with 5 home runs. Previous 38 games, not quite so much. A .217 average with 4 home runs. So Kyle Seager never stop improving. Brought to you by Lowe's. Seager, who after the 4-for-4 game yesterday, up to his career total to 332 against the Rangers. 81 ball games. Seager has gone 103 for 310. 14 home runs in those 81 ball games. Another double play ground ball, and Urnett drops it. He has no play. That's going to go as an error. Second time that the Rangers have had a tailor-made double play and not been able to turn it.
Yeah, that one a little bit tougher because it would have taken a little more time because of the high hop that it took to turn the double play. But it bounced right in his glove. Rougned just lost the ball as he went to transfer it to his hand to throw it.
A 2 on now with 1 out, and Nelson Cruz stepping to the plate.
Yeah, that's one you want to turn that so Nelly leads off the next inning instead of hits with a couple of men on right here.
Now Cruz, the top home run and RBI man, and the Mariner ball club, and he shoots one deep down the right side, but that slices back and out of play. Cruz had a single in the first inning and came around to score. 1 out of 2 today. Only 39 home runs, 82 RBI. Got Marte at second, Seager at first. 0-1 the count. Now time called. Holland sets again. Pickoff play, and he throws it into center field. Marte up, advancing to third. They put the brakes on him there. So a throwing error by Holland. Now it's runners at second and third with 1 out. Second error of the inning. Third error of the ball game for the Rangers.
Well, with a perfect throw, it might have been a close play. There's a little bit of daylight between second base and the runner. Derek just pulled the throw down in a way. If he dropped it right on the bag, might have been a close play.
Mike Maddox out there to slow things down a little bit and see if he can get Derek refocused on working to Nelly Cruz. And with first base open, it does give you a little bit of latitude to, you don't want to pitch to Cruz necessarily to work around him, but you've got Robinson Cano following Cruz in the order.
I'd rather pitch to Cano than Nelly Cruz. Not that either one of them is all that much fun.
Not exactly a day at the beach, is it?
About. I'm taking my chances right now with Cano instead of Nelly.
The infield coming all the way in. And Holland misses low and outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cruz just 40% of the time this year as he got that runner home from third base with less than 2 out. 2 balls and a strike. Derek's seeing if he can get Cruz to expand his strike zone a bit. And he did. Off the outside corner, and count evens at 2-2. Ketel Marte, the runner at third, is trailed by Kyle Seager at second. Still 2-2. Cruz really selling out the inside part of the plate to try and drive that ball to right field. Ranger infield right up at the cut of the grass, with the exception of Beltre at third. He's playing a step or so behind the baseline. Another 2-2 pitch is coming.
Derek reaching back for everything he's got on that fastball, 96 miles an hour. And challenged Nelly with it. Nelly struck out 132 times. That's what he's looking for right here. Try to throw a pitch maybe a little out of the strike zone. Get Nelly to expand the zone with men in scoring position and get that big strikeout.
Well, if Holland's going to pitch to it, now would be a great time if he wanted to drop a breaking ball in there, if he can keep it down out of the strike zone.
Yep, down and in.
Yeah.
Bust him in with a good fastball. Everything's been away. There you go. Good call, Buzz.
Bobby Wilson making sure Marte is not going any place from third, and Cruz a big strikeout. That is out number 2.
Derek took advantage of the fact that Nelly's going to be a little more aggressive with men on second and third and 1 out. Got him to swing it a couple of fastballs away and out of the strike zone. And then, as you said, Buzz, after all those mid-90s fastballs away, he was definitely susceptible to that last pitch out of the strike zone. Well, good job by Derek.
Yep.
If you're going to pitch to Nelly in that situation, can't do it any better than that.
A 2 gone. Robinson Cano and a double into the left field corner back in the first. Last time up, Holland struck him out. Ground ball that will be handled by Rougned Odor. Soft flip to Moreland, and that'll do it. Nice job of pitching by Derek Holland after he had second and third and just 1 out. 2 are stranded for the Mariners. On to the 6th we go, 2-0 Seattle. Today's jackpot is $2,300 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Leighton Hicks from Van Alstyne, Texas will win $2,300. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Leighton is going to pocket $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Well, Shin-Soo Choo to start things off. It'll be Choo, Fielder, and Beltre to face Felix Hernandez here in the 6th inning. Our sonic slam inning, and Choo 0 for 2. Shots that first pitch foul. It is 0-1. Rangers with just 2 hits against Hernandez here this afternoon. That on the heels of being 1 hit last night by a trio of Mariner pitchers. Vidal Nuno with the first 7 innings in last night's game. 0-2 to Choo. Ground ball to second, a strikeout this afternoon for the Ranger right fielder. One ball and 2 strikes. Choo waiting patiently. Now the 1-2. Ground ball. Cano can't get it. It's over his glove and into right field for a leadoff single. Looked like it hit the rim of the outfield grass and kicked up a little bit as Cano went down to the turf to try and grab it. And Shin-Soo Choo with a leadoff base hit here in the 6th inning.
Yeah, looks exactly what happened, Bubs. Hit the lip and bounced right over him.
Well, the Rangers had their leadoff man aboard in the 5th inning by the walk, and now here in the 6th, Choo is aboard, so that brings up Prince Fielder representing the tying run in this ball game. Fielder, a walk and a fly ball to center. First breaking ball is low. It's 1-0. Choo, a modest lead at first. Double play ground ball to Seager to Marte. 5-6-3. And the double play removes Shin-Soo Choo. There are 2 outs for Adrian Beltre. That overshift, you get the third baseman Seager playing in a normal second baseman spot. Unusual number sequence for a double play, but it's a twin killing nonetheless. And here's Beltre, who has hit the ball sharply twice. He has flied to left field and lined to right field. 1 ball and no strikes. Now 2-0. Adrian just 2 for his last 29 trips to the plate. Gone 5 for 38 on the road trip thus far. And that pitch low. It's 3 balls, no strikes.
They combined 2 for 29 for Adrian and 2 for 21 for Prince. And middle of the order has definitely struggled.
Yep.
Fortunately, one of Adrian's hits was that 2-run base hit with the bases loaded the other day and a 3-0 win.
Ball 4.
He doesn't want to walk. He wants to hit.
He wanted to swing the bat against his buddy.
It's all right. Get a man on. Maybe Mitchell unload on one.
Now, we've seen Moreland do that against King Felix before. 1 on, 2 out. Moreland today has doubled and been called out on strikes. It's with a home run and a couple RBI in his time against Felix Hernandez. Average at 288. 0-1. It's the team leader with 19 home runs and a career best 69 runs driven in. Hernandez, that letter high set. No swing as the appeal down to third, and Dan Bellino said no, he didn't go. 1-1. That's just about as close as you can go.
That was close, all right.
Hernandez back to the plate. That is in for a strike. It's 1-2. This might be as much as we've seen Felix Hernandez against the Rangers mix up pitches, really featuring that breaking ball. Tom, you mentioned the first time through, he threw a lot of curveballs. Went away from it the second time. Now he's kind of back to it this third time through.
Well, it's been definitely been a good pitch for him. Yeah. So no reason why he wouldn't go to it, I guess. But I agree. That's the most I've seen him throw it, or remember seeing him throw it anyway.
The 1-2 to Moreland. And instead, Felix Hernandez backs off, and Adrian's saying, "Will you go ahead and pitch the ball, please?" I don't think he said please.
The best way Adrian could get at Felix right now would be steal second base on him. He could really chirp.
He's swinging. And a power changeup. And Hernandez with his 7th strikeout. Rangers gone in the 6th. No runs, a hit, 1 left. After 5.5, Mariners 2, Rangers nothing. For the strongest fan photo this afternoon. This one comes to us from Dominic. Dominic, thank you very much. We appreciate it. You and Rangers captain out there at Globe Life Park. If you folks would like to send your photo along, just use hashtag Southwest Data StrongFan. And your picture might be selected to be aired during one of our upcoming broadcasts, the way Dominic's was this afternoon. All this brought to you by the folks at T-Mobile. Eric Holland going to work now in the bottom of the 6th inning. Mark Trumbo leading things off. Holland has allowed the 2 runs on 5 hits to the Mariners. Both runs the result of a Mark Trumbo double in the 1st inning. 2 balls and no strikes. Trumbo also has flied to center field. He did that leading off the 4th inning. Inside goes ball 3. Well, Holland, command not quite as sharp today for the most part as it has been. Derek has been kind of up and down a little bit more. Still throwing the ball well, though. And Trumbo on 3-0 gets fisted. Little dunker into center field. That's going to be missed by Venable. He went for the dive. Now the throw back to first. It gets away. And bounces off at second as well. Wilson is going to throw him out at second.
Now there's a play.
Beltre covering the bag at second, took the throw from Bobby Wilson, and Trumbo's out.
All right, let's see you recap that one, Buzz.
Man.
Trumbo ran 100 yards. Great try by Will in center field. Rugned sees him off the bag, fires back, he's safe. Ball gets by Mitch. I don't know what he was thinking about going to second. He sees the catcher right there with the ball. And there's the play. Wow. That's one way of getting Trumbo out.
It is. It is. He still gets a base hit, but that's okay. He is out. It was 2-5 the final part of that. Goodness gracious. So, one away is the upshot of the whole thing. Seth Smith, who singled his last time up, waves at the breaking ball, and Holland now the advantage in the count. No balls, 2 strikes. Smith a 254 average. As Holland misses up and away. Derek to the wind, back to the plate. High and tight. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Smith with 10 home runs and 35 RBI this year. He had fairly good numbers in a small sample against Holland before. Sure is why Lloyd McClendon has him in the lineup. Smith 2 out of 4 coming into this ball game. Now 3 out of 6 against Derek. Holland's payoff pitch. Nice swinging. Good fastball. And Smith becomes the 4th strikeout victim for Holland.
Derek's still throwing hard. 95 for that last fastball. Reached back, threw it right down the middle of the plate, and said, here it is if you can hit it. And he couldn't.
Well, 2 away now. And Jesus Montero, 1 for 2, will step in. Montero a single his last time up there. And Holland gets the inside corner for strike 1.
Montero leaning out for something away like he did the last time up in the 4th inning when he lined one for a base hit.
And inside again, and that hook just a little bit foul. Now Montero has had a lot of at-bats against Holland for the amount of time he has been up. He's now 5 for 12 against Derek. 0-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Holland back-to-back punch-outs. A hit, but nobody left for the Mariners. We'll go on to the 7th inning here at Safeco Field. The Mariners leading 2-0. Scoring came in the first inning. One swing of the bat by Mark Trumbo. That plated both Nelly Cruz and Robinson Cano, the only scoring of the ball game thus far. Trumbo went on to third. He was stranded there, but that gave the Mariners their current 2-0 advantage in the ball game. And Felix Hernandez has shut out the Rangers through the first 6 innings as he goes back to work here in the 7th. They'll face Rougned Odor, Elvis Andrus, and Joey Gallo. The Rangers 3 hits this afternoon after being 1 hit last night. So not exactly a big offensive output. Logan Morrison has entered the ballgame to take over at first for Jesus Montero. Morrison, the superior defender now on the field defensively. And Rougned Odor takes strike 1. Rougned has struck out both times that he has faced Felix Hernandez this afternoon. Hernandez 87 pitches as he works to Odor. Back to the plate comes the right-hander. Chopper right down on the front foot of Rougned. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Mariners pretty consistent with Felix Hernandez, keeping him around 100 pitches. He's had a high this year of 114, excuse me. He's been between 97 or 98 and 114, and the ball games he's gone deeply into.
He's giving Rougned fits with that curveball. He's seen it every at bat. Maybe he'll hang one to him.
And inning by inning, Felix Hernandez very, very consistent. Economical, 18 pitches in the 5th inning, the most. 2-2. And not at all opposed to coming up and in off the plate. Outside corner. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Well, the Rangers, who had their leadoff man aboard in each of the last 2 innings, trying to do it again with Odor here in the 7th. Rougned to be followed by Elvis Andrus. Hernandez to the wind, the payoff pitch. 1 out. Strikeout number 8 for Felix.
90-mile-an-hour changeup that drops about 6 inches, it looks like, right at the end.
Well, that he must not be able to see that come out of his hand at all, the way he sells it to hitters.
Yeah, the way they swing at it early, and it's only a couple of miles an hour different than his fastball. Some kind of pitch.
Elvis this afternoon has grounded a short and walked. 0-1 pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike. Elvis, the subject of the challenge in replay review at the caught stealing at second base. 1-2. We've looked at that replay a couple of times between innings and still can't figure out.
I couldn't see it.
How that call was confirmed, but folks in New York.
Maybe they have a better monitor than we do.
Could be.
I don't know.
Still 1-2. Jeff Bannister, I'm sure he's trying to figure it out also, what he saw and what he was told. Joey Provinsky, replay guru for the Rangers. Another 1-2 pitch. Softly to left center field. Trumbo coming on. That is out number 2. got Joey Gallo coming up. Folks, Wednesday, don't forget to wear red out to the ballpark. We're going to red out Globe Life Park. It's a pivotal AL West showdown against the Astros. It's also one of the last 2 chances you have to enjoy Dollar Hot Dog Night at Globe Life Park. Don't wait to get your tickets for this important matchup at Globe Life Park. And Joey Gallo hits the ball sharply, but lines out to left, and Rangers gone in order. We will take the stretch at Safeco Field with the Mariners leading the Rangers 2-0. Afternoon. Then it's on back home. Oakland coming in over the weekend, and then the big 4-game series with the Houston Astros red out Globe Life Park Monday through Thursday with the Astros in town. The Mariners next weekend. They will come in to finish up that homestand. And the Rangers back on the road for their final road trip of 2015. Derek Holland still going strong. He's back out there for the bottom of the 7th inning. Sucre drives one to right. Chu going back, still going back. It's over his head and one hop into the seats. A ground rule double for Jesus Sucre.
Well, Sucre's hitting 118 coming into the game. He walked his first time up. But even a 118 hitter has a better chance when it's 2-0. He's looking for a fastball and he gets one. He gets a 2-0 fastball up, out over the plate. Nice job by Sucre. Swinging the bat much better against us than he has been most of the season. Had a couple of hits in the game the other day. Otherwise he'd be hitting below 100.
Now Sucre's gotten 30% of his hits in the Rangers series. He's going to bunt. And the sacrifice just in time as Sean O'Malley got the ball down. And boy, Mitch looked at third thinking about that, almost thought too long.
That was a nice recovery, though. Watch how quickly Mitch has to pivot. Thinks he might have a shot at third, but he knows he's got to get it back to first quick. And he did.
Well, the sacrifice goes 3-4. And now with Sucre at third and one out, again, the Ranger infield pulling all the way in. You've got Ketel Marte at the plate. Switch hitting shortstop is 0 for 2 with a walk this afternoon. That first pitch on the inside corner for strike one.
Derek did a Houdini act in the 5th. We got Cruz and Cano with men on second and third and one out. See if he can do it man on third and one out.
Marte's 2 outs have been a ground ball to short, a fly ball to center. That one checking his swing is just off the plate inside. 1-1. Mariners 2 runs on 7 hits this afternoon. Rangers no runs on 3 hits. This is a pivotal juncture of the ball game. Runner at third and 1 out. The squeeze is on, and the pitch is bunted down foul. Came up and hit Marte. So back to third goes Sucre. This is the suicide squeeze variety of squeeze. 1-2 now, and Holland in a position where he can go for the strikeout of Marte. 2-2. Marte with 8 RBI in his first foray at the big league level. Holland trying to keep that number at 8. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Derek over the 90 pitch level now at 92. Big deep breath in and exhale, looking in for the sign. The check of Sucre at third. Hit hard, but pulled foul down the left side. Back into the seats. And the count remains even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sucre down at third. Ketel Marte in an 0 for 13 at the plate. Holland back to him. Base hit to center. Right by Holland's glove. In to score Sucre. An important RBI for Ketel Marte, and the Mariners take a 3-0 lead with Mike Maddox coming out to the mound.
He was trying to throw him a high fastball. Maybe didn't get it as high as he wanted it to, but it was high. Marte, a nice job of hitting right there. Battled all the way. Well stroked single to center field for him.
Well, Marte's 9th RBI as a big leaguer. He has been up with the Mariners since the latter stages of July. Came up on the 29th of July. He has been installed as their spark plug right at the top of the order. He's been doing a very good job, and he cost Derek Holland a run here in the 7th inning. Marte with good speed at first, and Kyle Seager fouls back that first pitch. It is 0-1. Seager 0 for 3 today. He has popped out, grounded out, and struck out. Holland a check at first. He will go that way with a throw. Infield, a couple of steps over to the right for Seager. And he got that down toward the end of the bat, it sounded like, and Chu makes the catch on a soft fly ball. 2 away now. And before Nelson Cruz comes up, let's send it back to Aaron Hardigan for a Mazda game break. All right, Aaron, thank you. Now 2 out. Ketel Marte at first. Here's Nelly Cruz for his 4th at bat. Cruz a first inning single. And hits one to right and hits it deep. Chu stops that ball, is out of the ballpark. Nelly Cruz with his 40th home run of the year, and the Mariners have opened up a 5-0 lead.
He just got that kind of power to all fields. Struck him out the last time, but Nelly got the fastball. I guess one thing you say is fortunate Nelly didn't play the first 3 games of this series. He having some kind of year.
Boy, Cruz launching one to right field. The fastball out away from him. You're right, Tom. It's just, there's not much margin for error when a guy like that is swinging the bat as well as he is.
No, he just got that ball a little bit too close to the middle of the plate.
Well, Nelly Cruz for the 2nd straight year, 40 home runs. And Robinson Cano takes a breaking ball to even the count. Cruz now with 40 home runs and 84 RBI. 1-2 to Cano. Sam Dyson in the Ranger bullpen, ready if needed. Holland gets it on his backside, knocks it down, and throws out Cano. That'll do it. But Mariners put 3 on the board. He had 3 runs on 3 hits, nobody left. And after 7, it's now 5-0 Seattle. .400th career home run. First 15,000 fans 14 and older will receive the Beltray shirt. It's sponsored by Snapple and 7-Eleven. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com to see the Rangers take on the A's on Sunday. Well, the Rangers have some work to do now. They are trailing 5-0 as they come to bat here in the 8th inning, and Felix Hernandez back to the hill will work to Bobby Wilson to start things off, then back to the top of the order for Venable and Chu. Bobby Wilson takes the changeup in for strike 1. Wilson singled his last time to the plate. 1 out of 2 this afternoon. That batting average overall now at 195. Breaking ball from Felix Hernandez, 0-2. Hernandez 8 strikeouts this afternoon. He has 4 walks. It's been rather unusual from that standpoint for him. To right field. Smith with room makes the grab. 1 gone. And back to the top of the Ranger order. Will Venable 0 for 3 in the leadoff spot today. He struck out, tried to bunny his way aboard in the third inning, was thrown out. He also grounded a short. Only one other time this year has Felix Hernandez walked as many as 4 in the ball game. He had a 5-walk game against the Yankees back in the first day of June this year.
Well, this is at least the third time on this trip where the Rangers got an unusual number of walks from a starting pitcher and just weren't able to do much with it. Garrett Richards and Hector Santiago in Anaheim walked 4, 5, or 6 guys in each game. The Rangers are just lacking those hits with men in scoring position after they get men on base.
And Cano makes the play. That is out number 2. A quick reminder that Texas high school football is back, and Fox Sports Southwest has teamed up with Dave Campbell's Texas Football to bring you the most comprehensive coverage of highlights and scores from across Texas every Friday night throughout the season. Join us every Friday at 7 p.m. on Fox Sports Southwest Plus and streaming on Fox Sports Go. 2 outs for Shin-Soo Choo. Choo had a base hit his last time. 1 ball, no strikes. Choo at 253 as he faces Felix Hernandez. Bases empty. 2 outs here in the 8th inning. Choo had his 5-game hitting streak snapped in last night's ball game. 2-0. Jesus Sucre going to go out and say something to Felix Hernandez. And Hernandez just pointed in, and Lloyd McClendon is coming out to the mound. Looked like Felix pointed into the dugout for a second. Let's see if that was by accident or if there was a meaning to it. McClendon out there to talk to him and talk to Robinson Cano and Ketel Marte along with Jesus Sucre. Hernandez with 105 pitches under his belt. Smacks Cano and says, go back to play second base. I'll pitch. Now 2-0 the count to Choo. Hernandez with a 2-1 pitch. Apparently he's all right.
Yeah.
93 with movement at the knees, I would think so. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Crowd of just over 16,000 on hand here this afternoon at Safeco Field. 3-2. So Choo with 2 outs trying to get aboard. Prince Fielder, the Ranger designated hitter, is loosening up near the on-deck circle. Hernandez with the 3-2. Popped up. Long run over for Seager. Near the wall and makes the catch. Now Seager had that ball come back to him, and that'll do it. Rangers down in order. Felix Hernandez is through 8 innings, and the Rangers are trailing Seattle 5-0.
Here at Safeco Field in Seattle as Jeff Bannister goes to his bullpen to get to the 8th inning here. Bottom of the 8th coming up. It is the finale of the longest road trip of the season for the Rangers. 10 games in 11 days. That means they are headed home, and they will start that homestand. Another long one, by the way, a 10-game homestand coming up next. It starts with Oakland tomorrow. You see there, Billy Butler's been hot for the A's, but Prince Fielder's been very good against Oakland this year. AT&T U-verse reminds you that we are back on at the normal time tomorrow. 6:30 for Rangers Live. 7 o'clock is about the time we'll get off the first pitch at Globe Life Park in Arlington tomorrow, guys.
All right, John, thank you. Anthony Bass has entered the ballgame. Anthony working on bookends of this road trip. He worked in the first game out in San Diego, and now in the finale of this trip, working to Mark Trumbo here with the bases empty, and Trumbo leading off in the 8th inning. Trumbo 2 for 3 this afternoon, a 2-run double and a single. Now he has a season average up to 267 with Seattle. Pops up the next pitch from Bass. Rougned Odor backpedaling and calling everybody off. 1 away. So Trumbo out. Seth Smith will be next. Anthony Bass with 30 appearances. Today is his 31st. League hitting 275 against him. Anthony, 18 walks, 43 strikeouts in his 60 and 2/3 innings coming into play today. Up and down a couple of times in the Rangers and around Rock, mostly due to the need for a fresh arm from time to time. Anthony, primarily the long man, although he's gone through a couple of spurts of pitching in the 7th inning for the Rangers. Gets a chopper foul by Smith, and the count moves to no balls and 2 strikes. Smith 1 out of 3 against Derek Holland. Holland, by the way, 7 innings of work today. 9 hits, 5 runs. They were all earned. A couple of walks, 5 strikeouts. So his worst outing as far as what he had given up run-wise since coming back off the disabled list. But running into a Mariner club here this afternoon that was able to put some things together in a couple of different spots in the ballgame. First inning got him off to a 2-0 lead on 2-out damage with a couple of doubles and a single. And then the big Nelly Cruz 2-run home run capped off a 3-run 7th against Oakland.
Yeah, the Mariners have been down near the bottom of the West standings for quite a while. But they're a much better team right now, I think, than they have been throughout most of the season. They've got a good lineup. Seager, Cruz, Cano, Trumbo, all those guys are swinging the bats right now. They're all proven hitters. O'Malley has added something since he's been called up. You got a couple of guys playing more now than they were before. A couple of guys are gone that were playing a lot. In any event, their lineup is pretty solid right now. They can score runs against you.
And the way they look at it up here, the Edgar effect, ever since Edgar Martinez became their hitting coach in late June 20th, matter of fact, they've improved markedly offensively. Whether that's the reason or not.
It's got to have something to do with it.
Yeah, I would think so. Maybe the approach, possibly? Or
I think it's got something to do with it. It's been too dramatic a difference from before and after. And I'm sure some of it you can attribute. There's no way Cano is going to hit 230 for the whole year.
Right.
So, I don't know if Edgar had a lot to do with Cano, other than Cano's a great hitter, and sooner or later he's going to start hitting like one. But I think you have to give him. I kind of go along with the theory that, not a theory, but if you're going to blame coaches when pitching or hitting or defense goes bad, you have to give them credit when it goes good.
Sure.
Lloyd McClendon said that the other day, and I agree with that. You can't just hold people accountable in a negative way. You got to give them positive too.
Well, Anthony Bass pretty positive. He gets a couple of strikeouts in a 1-2-3, and we're going on to the 9th inning here at Safeco. Mariners leading 5-0. will now face the closer for the Seattle Mariners, Tom Wilhelmsen, in to take over for Felix Hernandez, with the Mariners leading 5-0. Wilhelmsen, 47th appearance of the year. 7 holes to his credit. But he and Carson Smith pretty much split the closing duties. They have flip-flopped back and forth at various times. And Wilhelmsen now manning the 9th inning chores for the Mariners.
The Rangers have seen 3 different closers. Saw Fernando Rodney earlier in the year.
So Wilhelmsen will face Fielder, Beltre, and Moreland here in the 9th inning. Prince Fielder to start things off. 0 for 2 this afternoon with a walk. Rangers limited to just 3 hits, so they've had a total of 4 hits the last 2 ball games. They're still looking for their first run in the last 2. Fielder lines one to right. Smith, though, a couple of steps to his right, makes the catch for out number 1. That may be the hardest ball that Prince Fielder's hit in the last few days.
He had a good swing at that fastball.
James Jones has entered the ballgame to take over in center, with Sean O'Malley moving from center over to left field. Defensive realignment for the Mariners. 1 out now. Adrian Beltre will face Wilhelmsen. Beltre also 0 for 2 with a walk. Wilhelmsen drops that slider in for strike 1. Felix Hernandez today, 8 innings, 3 hits. No runs, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts. Beltre off the end of the bat, a little looper down the right side. It's going to drop in foul territory. Smith couldn't get there, and neither could Logan Morrison, the first baseman. Beltre will come back to the plate with a count of no balls and 2 strikes. Adrian's probably hit the ball as hard against Felix Hernandez as anybody on the Ranger club today. He fly to left field and line to right field. That ball's ripped down the left field line, but he hooked it foul.
One guy was doing the right thing. Take 2 steps to the right and duck. Seattle security guard down there. Watch him.
I'm
Take
leaving.
2 steps and get out of the way. That's exactly what you should do. If you've got room to do that, that's the best thing you can do when a line drive's coming your way. Unless you got a glove and you know how to catch. Glove doesn't do you much good if you've never played baseball before.
That's true.
You might be able to get it in the way of the ball and block it.
No, he wasn't taking any chances. He's seen that before.
Yeah, I'm not going to make fun of him. He's smart.
A ball and 2 strikes to Adrian. Wilhelmsen back to the plate. Now 2-2. Wilhelmsen, the 31-year-old right-hander. Sets at the belt, and the pitch to Beltre. He's blown a couple of tough pitches. Rangers trying to avoid being shut out for the 11th time this year, and back-to-back. Shut out last night on just that 1 hit. Beltre fouls it out of play again. Rangers have had difficulty on this trip. They had 3 shutouts in the first 9 games of this road trip. They are in danger here this afternoon of making it 4. Beltre takes inside. The count is now full. Rangers also have had trouble on the road this year. Last night was their 9th shutout of the year away from home. A full count. Wilhelmsen to the plate. Got him swinging. Tag completed, and the Rangers now down to their final out as Mitch Moreland comes up. Moreland steps in, 1 for 3 this afternoon. He has doubled, and twice he has struck out. Ball 1. He is outside. Moreland, 2 out of 10 in his career against Wilhelmsen. Line drive, base hit to left center field. And the 9th inning will continue as Moreland has his second hit. A double, now a single. He is aboard. Rougned Odor coming to the plate. The Rangers are going to have a pinch runner for Moreland.
Nice job of hitting right there. You can see the ball tailing away from Mitch. You can see him go the other way with a nice solid swing.
Well, Moreland removed for a pinch runner. Ryan Strasburger will come on to take over at first base. Rougned Odor 0 for 3 against Felix Hernandez. Struck out all 3 times. Fastball hitting down at his shoe tops. And Odor just not able to get out of the way as Wilhelmsen got him on the front foot. Got him on the ankle, didn't it?
Man, it's hard to get hit over there. Ball was about 3 feet inside.
And Rougned, as you would understand, not particularly thrilled about getting plunked by Wilhelmsen. Rangers hit a couple of times yesterday, and that last night was the 3rd straight game they have been hit 2 times per game. And this afternoon, a hit by pitch again. So 2 on with 2 outs. Elvis Andrus 0 for 2 with a walk. Was after that first pitch and skies to right field. Smith into the corner, makes the catch, and that will do it. The Rangers get a hit and a hit batter, strand 2 in the 9th inning, and they are shut out for the 2nd consecutive day, 5-0. The final here as the Mariners end up splitting the series at 2 games apiece. And the Rangers and Mariners now have 3 games left between the two of them at Globe Life Park at the end of the upcoming homestand. So the Mariners win it 5-0 today as Felix Hernandez gets his 17th